Picture this. It's 11 p.m. on a school night in Hanoi. A mother walks past her daughter's room. The light is still on. She opens the door quietly. Her 15-year-old is hunched over textbooks, eyes red, hands cramping from hours of writing. "Aren't you tired?" the mother whispers. The daughter looks up and says something that breaks her heart. "I can't stop. Everyone else is still studying." This isn't a rare story in Vietnam. It's the norm. Vietnamese students are among the hardest working in the world. They study longer, sleep less, and push themselves further than almost anyone else. But why? What's really driving them? The answer will surprise you. Today, we're uncovering the truth behind Vietnam's intense study culture. This isn't about tiger moms or cultural stereotypes. This is about something much deeper. Something rooted in history, shaped by economics, and driven by a dream that millions of families share. By the end of this video, you'll see Vietnamese students in a completely different light. You'll understand the invisible forces pushing them forward, and you might even start to see yourself in their struggle. Because ultimately, this story isn't just about Vietnam. It's about what people are willing to sacrifice for a better future. Let's begin. The invisible inheritance. To understand why Vietnamese students study so hard, we need to rewind the clock. Not just a few years, a few generations. Meet Mr. Thun. He's 68 years old now, a retired teacher living in a small apartment in Saigon. When he was a child in the 1960s, Vietnam was at war. Schools were bombed, teachers disappeared. Books were luxuries most families couldn't afford. Mr. Thun's father was a farmer who never learned to read. But he made his son a promise: "You will get an education, no matter what." During the war, Mr. Thun studied by candlelight in underground shelters. He memorized lessons while bombs fell overhead. Why? Because his father told him something he'd never forget. Education is the only thing no one can take from you. Fast forward to today. Mr. Thun's grandchildren are the ones staying up until midnight studying. They never experienced war. They've never gone hungry. But they carry the same mission. Because in Vietnamese families, education isn't just personal, it's generational. When a Vietnamese parent pushes their child to study, they're not just thinking about grades. They're thinking about their own parents who never got the chance. They're thinking about grandparents who worked in rice fields their entire lives. They're thinking about ancestors who believed education was the key to freedom. This is what psychologists call intergenerational transmission. In Vietnam, the pressure to succeed academically isn't cruelty. It's love wrapped in history. It's the weight of dreams deferred, now placed on the shoulders of the next generation. But history alone doesn't explain everything, because there's a second force at play, one that's even more powerful: the economic ladder. Let's talk about money, because that's what no one wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking about. In Vietnam, your education directly determines your economic future, and I mean directly. Here's what the numbers look like. A street vendor in Vietnam might earn $200 a month. A factory worker, maybe $300. But a university graduate with a decent degree, they can earn $800, $1,000, even $2,000 a month. That's not just a raise. That's a completely different life. That's the difference between living in a cramped apartment with 3 generations under one roof and affording your own place. That's the difference between riding a motorbike in the rain to work and owning a car. That's the difference between worrying about every expense and being able to save money. So when Vietnamese parents tell their kids, "Study hard or you'll end up like me," it's not an insult. It's a warning, it's reality. Let me introduce you to Linh. She's 17. Lives in a rural province outside Hanoi. Her parents are rice farmers. They wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Their hands are calloused, their backs ache. They've done this for 30 years. Linh watches them come home exhausted every night, and she's made herself a promise. "I'm getting out." Not because she doesn't love her parents, but because she does. She wants to give them a better life. And the only way to do that in Vietnam is through education. So Linh wakes up at 5 a.m. to study before school. She attends extra tutoring sessions after school. She studies until midnight, sometimes later. Her parents don't have to force her. She's forcing herself. Because she's seen firsthand what happens if you don't have an education. And she's determined not to repeat that cycle. But here's where it gets even more intense. Because Vietnam has created a system that turns this dream into a battlefield. The gauntlet. Imagine if your entire future came down to 2 days. 2 exams, that's it. Welcome to the Vietnamese University Entrance Exam. It's called the Kỳ thi tốt nghiệp THPT and Tuyen Sin Jai Hoc. Every June, over 900,000 students across Vietnam sit for this test. They've spent 12 years preparing for this moment. And here's the catch. Your score on this exam determines which university you can attend. And in Vietnam, where you go to university determines everything. Top universities like Vietnam National University or Hanoi University of Science and Technology, those open doors to multinational companies, government positions, study abroad opportunities. Lower tier universities, you'll still get a degree, but the opportunities shrink dramatically. And if you don't score high enough to get into any university at all, that dream of escaping poverty, of giving your parents a better life, of breaking the cycle, gone. So students don't just study for this exam, they prepare for battle. Starting in 10th grade, most Vietnamese students attend extra classes called Hoc Them. These are private tutoring sessions that happen after school, on weekends, during holidays. Some students are in class from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day. The pressure is suffocating. Students develop anxiety disorders. Depression rates are climbing. Some stop eating. Some stop sleeping. In 2022, a student in Da Nang collapsed during the entrance exam from exhaustion. She'd been studying 16 hours a day for 3 months straight. When people ask, why do Vietnamese students study so hard? The answer is simple, because the system gives them no choice. It's not a race, it's survival. But here's what most people don't see: the silent sacrifice. Behind every Vietnamese student burning the midnight oil is a family making sacrifices you'll never see. Let's go back to Linh for a moment. Remember her, the farmer's daughter? What I didn't tell you is this: her parents can't afford private tutoring. So her father started waking up at 3 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. to work an extra hour in the fields. That extra hour earns him an extra $50 a month. All of it goes toward Linh's tutoring fees. Her mother stopped buying new clothes for herself. She wears the same 3 outfits, year after year. Her younger brother dropped out of school at 16 to work so Linh could keep studying. This is the reality for millions of Vietnamese families. Education isn't just the student's burden, it's the family's investment. And when a Vietnamese student stays up until 2 a.m. studying, it's not just for themselves. They're studying for their father, who skips meals to save money. They're studying for their mother, who works 2 jobs. They're studying for siblings who gave up their own dreams. The guilt is immense. The pressure is crushing. And that's why quitting isn't an option. Because it's not just your failure. It's letting down everyone who believed in you. Everyone who sacrificed for you. Everyone who bet their future on yours. But here's the part that will change how you see this entire story. After all this pressure, all this sacrifice, all this pain, you'd think Vietnamese students would be miserable, and some are. But many of them will tell you something unexpected. I'm grateful. I sat down with Min, a recent university graduate who went through the system. I asked her, was it worth it? She paused for a long time. Then she said, when I got my acceptance letter, I called my parents. My mom cried for an hour, my dad couldn't speak. And I realized, everything they gave up, every sacrifice they made, it all meant something. I didn't just earn a degree. I gave my family hope. That's when it clicked for me. This isn't about test scores. It's not about competition. It's about dignity. For families who've spent generations in poverty, watching their child walk across a stage in a graduation gown is witnessing a miracle. It's proof that hard work pays off. It's proof that sacrifice wasn't in vain. It's proof that the future can be different from the past. Vietnamese students don't study hard because they're forced to. They study hard because they're carrying dreams that are bigger than themselves. And that changes everything. So why do Vietnamese students study so hard? It's not one reason. It's a perfect storm of history, economics, culture, and love. It's the weight of generations who never had opportunities, now resting on young shoulders. It's the knowledge that education is the only bridge between poverty and prosperity. It's a system that turns learning into a high-stakes competition. And it's families who sacrifice everything, asking for nothing in return except success. Is the system perfect? No. Does it need reform? Absolutely. But underneath all the stress and pressure is something beautiful. A belief that through education, anything is possible. That no matter where you start, hard work can change your story. And for millions of Vietnamese students, that belief is worth fighting for. Even if it means studying until 2 a.m. Even if it means sacrificing their teenage years. Because they're not just studying for grades, they're studying for freedom. If this story gave you a new perspective, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're exploring untold stories from around the world, the human experiences behind headlines, the cultures that shape us, and the dreams that drive us forward. Thanks for watching, and remember, behind every student grinding through the night is a story of hope, sacrifice, and unshakable determination. See you in the next one.